officially welcome. We are going to continue our exploration of connecting our two halves, right? Connecting our upper body to our lower body, which you might think it's already connected, which it is, thankfully. But we can continue to build intelligent pathways that help us move with more support. And so today we're going to be focusing on the obliques, which are two layers of muscles in the core on either side, and we're going to play with actually feeling those muscles and then noticing how they support us through our movements. And today's class should feel very soothing and comforting, but also challenging. So just make sure that you're honoring your body, right? Moving slowly. We're going to repeat stuff, so let your body build up strength rather than feeling like, you've got to push into something and find your max. We'll have plenty of time to build up slowly. So with that, let's begin. Turn to your left. Can you and extend your legs and slowly recline. And if it feels comfortable, you can close the eyes and just allow all your awareness to land in your body. You've been probably running around all day doing all sorts of things and thinking and plotting and scheming. And now is your opportunity to let all of that go and to begin feeling. Feel the earth underneath you. Imagine it rising up to support you. Feel the air around you. Just gently tucking you in, almost like a really soft, fluffy duvet cover or comforter. And then start to notice how your body intersects those two forces of support below and spaciousness above. Feel the space of your body and the breath naturally flowing in and then flowing out. In our yoga practice, we build our awareness of our own body and the deeper layers of our self, our true inner divine self. We also begin to feel how we interact with the world around us in this dance of awareness, of consciousness. And so to begin, if you are following along with the playlist, you can hit play on the first track and make sure it's set to loop. And gently bend the knees, place the soles of the feet to the earth. Reach your arms overhead and push into the left foot so that you very slowly start to roll just onto the right side. And if we set up correctly, hopefully you're facing me. If you're not, then I'm sorry, you have to sit up and switch sides so that you're roughly facing me. Yay! For those of you that I can see, you did it. So congratulations. And we'll start by warming up the sides of our body and bringing more awareness to the sensations on the right side of the body. So ever so gently, start rolling forward, maybe just an inch, and then roll back just an inch. And give yourself permission to adjust your arm at any time. You really want to make sure that that shoulder feels safe, that it feels comfortable. And as you roll forward and back, just start to feel the massage on the side body And depending on your bone structure and your tissue, if you feel too much pressure on your hip, you can place a blanket underneath you just for a little extra padding. And we'll be here long enough that it's worth it. So grab what you need to grab to really feel soothed and comforted here. And bring your awareness to your rib cage. And just feel how the ribs gently press into the yoga mat. First the front of the rib cage, and then the side, and then maybe slightly the back. And as you massage your rib cage from the outside, see if you can also have awareness of the breath, massaging your rib cage from the inside. I really love this massage because it starts to open up the muscles that connect the arm into the body. We are going to be working with the shoulders in class today, and this is a really nice way to start feeling the back of the shoulder, the side of the shoulder. So now shift your attention upward from the rib cage towards the space where the arm connects to the body and then into the rib cage. And you might lean forward a little bit more if that's accessible, and then lean back a little bit more. And as these muscles start to feel more comfortable, you might notice that the arm wants to reach in a different direction. Just give yourself the opportunity to make any changes, right? Or maybe you're feeling a little pinching somewhere. Try reaching forward. We definitely don't want any pinching in the shoulder. We're going for more of a melting, right? Just letting everything soften. We'll just take one more breath on this side. And we'll do kind of a fun experiment. Very slowly roll onto the back and just lift both arms overhead. And bring your awareness to both sides and just notice if the right side feels any different from the left. And if you're not sure, you can play with taking a couple of snow angels with the arms, and maybe there's just a different quality to the way that right side is moving. And of course, now we'll balance it out on the other side. So the next time the arms are overhead, push into the right foot so you can slowly lean away from me onto the left side. Let the head come onto the arm. And I know it can be funny to not be able to see me, so just try to trust your wisdom that you're in the right place. Luckily, we're not doing anything too complicated just yet. And just start with those gentle rocks. And it doesn't matter how far you go, just do what feels nourishing to you. Like imagine you're paying $100 for a massage right now, and you really want it to feel good. That's what this movement is about. Doesn't matter what it looks like, it's all about how it feels. And then see if you can really feel your ribcage imprinting on the yoga mat. And because we've already done the other side, I'll invite you to just move at your own pace, bringing your awareness eventually to the shoulder when it feels right. And try moving a little slower, as if you were like a hard candy that was slowly melting, right? Slowly getting a little softer, almost like you were in a hot space and the candy was just starting to soften. Yeah, that looks really nice. Slowing down is often our best friend, but it's hard. I know you guys are go-getters. We'll just take a few more breaths on this side. And then make your way onto the back. Let both arms come overhead. And again, just notice the sides of the body. Notice the sensation in the shoulders. And we'll begin our sequence. And so fan the arms down towards the heels and very slowly push into the feet and lift the hips away. Let the shoulders push down into the earth. You don't have to lift very high. Set the hips down and just do this a couple of times, just interacting with the shoulders from another angle, right? Allowing them to be your foundation, allowing the body to just gently float up as if your belly was like a helium balloon just rising effortlessly away from the earth. And then set the hips down and hug the knees into the chest. Instead of grabbing them though, let the hands float and just reach fingertips towards the feet, curling up. And then slowly reach the body down, let the arms melt overhead, and do that a couple of times. And you don't have to lift very high. You don't want to have any strain in the neck. And so imagine that the front of the body is pulling you up and the neck is just staying nice and soft. The next time you lower the right foot, and we're going to do the same thing, but just only with the left leg. So you're curling up towards the left leg, and then set everything down. Bring the right hand to the outside of the left thigh, and push the hand and thigh together. And here's our first oblique experience. So bring your left hand to the space just underneath the left rib cage. Bring your fingers to your bottom rib. And you might be able to feel how you can get your fingers underneath the rib. And then gently push the hand and leg together again and feel the muscles that turn on and pull the rib in. You can release a couple times and just try to start to get a feeling for those muscles on the side body turning on to integrate the rib cage into the core. Give me a thumbs up if you can feel that, because I want to make sure we're going to talk about that. Great. Okay, I see some thumbs. And be patient too. If you're not sure, sometimes just bringing your awareness there can be a great place to start. So next time you squeeze hand and thigh together, reach the left arm out to a T, and then very slowly let the knees start to fall over to the right. And if the obliques are engaged, the rib cage should come with you. So you roll onto the right side just like you did before. So the shoulders stack and let the left hand reach towards the screen. So Nehemiah, lift the left hand and let it come with you. Yeah, nice. And then slowly circle the left arm overhead behind you, and notice how it starts to pull on the rib cage. See if you can squeeze right hand and thigh together so the obliques turn on and the body comes back onto the back, just like where you were before. And we're going to do that again. So hands frame the left leg, curl up, recline. Right hand to thigh, left arm to T, squeeze arm and leg together, slowly roll on to the side. Nice. Yeah, that was great. Left hand comes with you, and then just a nice slow circling of the left arm overhead, and then let the left arm pull on the left hip. So you return onto the back with a nice strong core. Last round on your own. Starts with the curl up and then right hand to thigh for the twist. And it doesn't have to be perfect or exactly like how I'm doing it. We're just trying to connect the rib cage down to the pelvis so that we feel really strong and supported and integrated. We'll meet on our back. Cross the left leg over the right and then grab behind the right thigh, curl up, and then extend the legs any amount and kick them forward and take a few rolls. Yeah, or come all the way up if the core just takes you all the way up. Good job. Yay. Okay, we'll pause here and just tip the knees from side to side. You can tent the hands behind you so you've got some support. And this is just opening up the hips a little bit. And then we'll do that same thing on the other side. So you can uncross the legs, reach forward, and close the space in the front of the body. And then very slowly let the front of the body open, trying to control your way down to your back. And it's okay if you can't control all the way down, but just explore. Wow. Okay, well, you guys are really good at that. And now we'll do the other side. So right knee lifts, slowly roll up towards the right leg, and then recline. Left hand to outer right hip, and just give that a little squeeze. If you want to bring your right hand to the rib cage just to try to feel those muscles turning on as you squeeze hand and leg together. It's like the rib cage embeds itself into your core. And then reach the right arm to a T. Keep that muscle on as you slowly roll to the left. Right hand touches down in front of you. Circle the right arm overhead. And then very slowly let the right arm pull the right hip back to the earth so you're on your back again. And then you can repeat, curling up for the crunch, crossing the body to turn on the oblique, and then gently rolling to the left. If you ever get the hang of the sequence, you can always move at your own pace. You don't have to stay with me. And you always have permission to skip something you don't like or add something that you need. You can always stay with me. Sometimes that's easiest, but I like to give you lots of options. We'll all meet on our back. Cross the right leg over the left. Grab behind the left leg, reach the legs up, and then kick them forward. See if you can get all the way up in one. It's okay if you can't, but sometimes it's fun to experiment. Hands behind you, tent the fingertips, and then just gently point the knees from side to side. They don't have to go very far. This is actually a fun place to feel the obliques as well. If the obliques are turning on, you might not go quite as far, but you'll feel the connection, which is great. Okay, so next time knees are pointed up, take the right calf and slide it up and down the left shin. Just giving the calf a little bit of a massage. And then uncross the right leg, thread it through the space between the heel and the hip, and place the right hand behind you. And it might take a couple of rounds to get the hang of this. We're going to slowly flip to a tabletop position. Nice. Great job, Nehemiah. I think you're new to that transition. You nailed it on the first round. And then let's try it just a couple of times. So bring the right knee forward, push down into the right hand so you can slowly pivot to the left back onto your bottom. Awesome. Okay, so now let's try the other way. So cross the legs the opposite direction. Scoot your hips to the center of the mat, left hand behind, and just slowly push down into the left hand so you can flip to the left. Nice. Okay, so let's pause in our tabletop, and we've got kind of a fun experiment here. So we'll be lowering to the forearms in just a moment, and when you do that, I want you to just notice how the ribs feel, how the belly feels, and how the hips feel. And so slowly lower to the forearms. You might just take a snapshot of the sensations in this pose, and then come back up and just do it a couple of times, and just notice any sense of support or lack thereof. And the next time you come onto the hands, we'll wake up some supportive muscles in the shoulders called the serratus anterior by just ever so gently melting the heart towards the mat. And then push into the hands to puff up the space between the shoulder blades. And just do this a couple of times. The arms should stay straight. It's almost like a tiny cat-cow that just happens between the shoulder blades. And you'll know you're doing it right if you feel the shoulder blades wrap wide on the back as you push up. It should feel really strong. So just take a couple more of those. And sometimes if you do it with too much fervor, other muscles turn on. So try it moving a little less. It should feel tiny, almost like no one can see it but you. And now here's our experiment. Next time you puff up, so the shoulders wrap wide on the rib cage, lower the forearms and just notice if there's any different sensation in the core when you do that. And you can try it a couple of times. If you don't notice anything, don't feel bad. Sometimes it can take time, but I notice a lot of more core engagement when my shoulders are more active after waking up the serratus. So from our forearms, just pause for a moment and just draw some circles of the shoulders around the elbows. And as you do this, see if you can maintain awareness of the relationship between your rib cage and your pelvis. Right? So sometimes the pelvis tips forward, sometimes it tips back. When our core is connecting our two halves, it's a little easier to find neutral between the rib cage and the pelvis. Pause at center, slowly shift the hips back. Just let the forehead melt for a moment. Let the shoulders soften. That was a lot of shoulder work. And gently push down into the knees, slowly rolling up to standing on the knees. So a high kneel. Take your time. And walk the knees underneath you until they're at a comfortable position underneath the hips. We'll do a couple of kneeling chair poses. So just send the hips back as you sweep the arms forward. This is a great opportunity to pay attention to that same relationship between the pelvis and the rib cage. So we don't want the pelvis to tip forward or back. We want to keep everything connected. And the next time the hips start to lift, try stepping the right foot forward. It just like follows the momentum of the body. Nice. And then see if you can go back to kneeling chair and try stepping the other leg forward. And if that's not comfortable, just stick to kneeling chair for a couple more rounds. Otherwise, play with stepping one foot forward at a time and really try to use the momentum, right? So it's like as the hips shift forward, the leg just swings with it like a pendulum. The next time the right foot is forward, let's pause. Release the hands inside the foot. Let the left knee and right heel separate any amount and just slowly draw some circles on the left knee. And as you circle the weight on the left knee, let the whole body follow, right? So you might even notice that the weight is circling in the right foot, even though the movement is originating the left knee. Bring your awareness to the hips and just notice the shape of the hips circling, but don't try to change them or alter them. A lot of times people try to force things in the hips, and so this is a really nice way to just allow the hips to soften. And then bring the hips to neutral. Gently push down into the front foot. Drop the tailbone and stack one vertebra at a time. Let the arms sweep up. Nice. And we're going to repeat that a few times. You can move at your own pace, slowly melting forward and releasing. And then pushing down to slowly rise up. And you don't have to go all the way down if that's not comfortable. But as we repeat this, a couple of good things to focus on. Focus on keeping the weight in the right heel so the knee doesn't come too far forward and put pressure on the front of the knee. You can always scooch that foot forward too if you need space. And also just notice the push and pull between the front of the body and the back of the body. And so as you release forward, the back of the body slowly lowers you with control. And as you reach up, the front of the body lengthens and puffs up and expands. The next time you're up, pause there, drop the right arm, and imagine the whole left side filling and expanding so that you can just reach a little higher, maybe even slightly up and over. And then inch the right foot towards you just a little bit so you have a really short stance. Release the hands down, shift the weight into the right foot, and pull the left knee in for a standing crunch. So the knee is coming in towards the body. And then set the left foot down underneath you. Push down into the heels and shift the weight back into the hips. Roll up one vertebra at a time. And this should feel good. If it doesn't feel good, try putting your hands on your thighs just for a little extra support, because there should never be any strain in the back. But if it feels good, it is good. Once you make it to standing, just pause for a moment. Walk the feet out underneath you. They might need to come closer or wider so you feel really stable and supported. And then just bring the hands to the hips and make some little hip circles. And move really nice and slow so that you can feel the weight shifting in the feet as the hips circle. And go the opposite direction. And then relax the arms down. Send the weight into the heels. Scoop the air up in front of you as you reach the hips back for a chair pose. And then push down into the feet, slowly rising up, dropping the hands. And try lifting the heels as if you were wearing some invisible high-heeled shoes. As you do that, gaze down if it doesn't throw off your balance. And just try to keep the ankles stacked right over the toes so they're not rolling in or out. And then set heels down and repeat that. So go from chair to tippy toe Tadasana. Move at your own pace, but really try to feel support along the way. As you come onto your toes, try reaching the hands back and letting the whole front of the body open slightly as a counterpose to chair, and then reach the arms forward and send the hips back, letting the whole back of the body lengthen. Just take a few pulses. Doesn't matter how far you go, but great alignment, everybody. I'm so impressed. So maybe you're always great at knowing where your rib cage and your hips are, but I wonder if those little awareness exercises helped, because all of you have really great alignment. The next time you're in chair pose, gently melt the body over the thighs, touch the hands down, and then just step the right foot back, lowering the right knee, because we have to do that same thing on the other side. So we'll meet in a short lunge with the left foot in front. Take your time getting there. Bring both hands inside the left foot. Walk the left foot over to the left so you have a lot of space. And we'll start with those circles. So start drawing a circle by shifting the weight in the right knee. And then just notice how the rest of the body follows. The hips, the spine, the front leg, just letting everything move really fluidly. You can always separate the space between left heel and right knee if you need to. And then center the weight and push down, heavy pelvis, heavy sits bones. Roll up one vertebra at a time. Sweep the arms up. Let the front of the body open. And then we'll repeat that, sending the hips back, melting forward, and then pushing down into the legs, letting the body slowly fill up and expand. And imagine it filling up and expanding in every direction. So it's not just one muscle stretching, but just your whole body opening. Nice job. Everyone's moving at a really smooth, slow, steady pace. See if you can start to connect with the breath. And it doesn't matter if you're inhaling up or exhaling up. Just try to sync up your breath with the movement and imagine the breath is generating the movement. It might mean you move a little slower depending on the pace of your breath. And the next time you fill up and expand, drop the left arm and let the whole right side keep expanding, keep reaching and filling, just letting that whole right side lengthen. You can even bring the left hand to the obliques and just notice if there's that continuity of the rib cage connecting down into the core. And if there's not, try coming out of it slightly so the rib cage pulls down towards the pelvis. And then let the right side fill up a little bit more and notice if that changes the connection in the right side. And then release the hands inside of the foot. We're going to our standing crunch. So shift the weight forward, keeping the weight in the left heel. Drag the right knee forward. Nice bend in the left knee as you tuck the right knee into the chest any amount, and then set it down outside of the hands. Bend the knees deeply. Head hangs heavy, Uttanasana, standing forward fold. And then bend the knees and slowly roll up one vertebra at a time. Hands can help if you want. Walk the feet underneath you and walk backward until you're in the middle of your mat, if you're not already. And so let's just take a couple of those chair to tippy toe Tadasana pulses, and then we'll start to add on to our sequence. And the next time you're in chair pose, flick the right foot, lifting the right knee, and just step the right foot forward. Separate the right foot and the left foot and let them come nice and wide towards the edges of the mat so you've got a nice wide foundation. And then similarly to Anjaneyasana, push down into the feet, bend the right knee, and let the whole front of the body slowly open and expand as you reach up. And then soften, extend the front leg, and just melt forward just a little bit, almost like a baby Parsvottanasana. And then bend the front knee, let the whole front of the body fill up. Take a couple of these pulses on your own and try to have the sense of your whole body moving here, as if you were a raft filling with air evenly in all directions, and then just gently deflating evenly inward. The next time you reach up, pause there, and just like Anjaneyasana, drop the right arm. Let the whole left side fill up and expand. It's okay to side bend a little. Try to keep the rib cage integrated. You can always check, see what's happening by tapping the right hands onto the left side of the obliques. And then reach both arms up, straighten the front leg, drop the left arm, and come on to the ball of the right foot. So your high heel is back. So other foot, yeah, there you go. And then let's pulse between those two shapes. So bend the right knee, lift the left side of the body, and then switch arms and straighten the right leg, lifting the right heel. And so there starts to be this push and pull. First the left side of the body expanding, and then the right. And keep trying to move in this really even way. See if you can connect with the breath. Again, it doesn't matter when you inhale, when you exhale, just try to keep it smooth and fluid. And the next time you're in the right knee bends and the left arm lifts, slowly shift the weight into the right foot, drag the left knee forward, and place your right hand onto the left thigh. Drop the left arm and slowly circle it back. Find a drishti, a balance gaze point, so you can balance here for just a moment. You can circle the left ankle. And then slowly reach the left arm forward as you reach the left leg back down. And we're going to repeat that a couple of times. So shift the weight forward to your twisted tree. And then let the whole left side of the body extend so the left leg reaches back, the right knee bends, and the left arm reaches forward. Once you've got the hang of it, move at your own pace. If you are feeling awareness between the rib cage and the pelvis, start to notice how the twisted tree condenses that space. And then our Vir Bhadrasana 3 prep pose lengthens that space, but it stays strong. Don't worry, the right leg's gonna get a break in a moment. You guys are doing great. The next time the left knee lifts, pause there, but you don't have to rush to get there. And then slowly set the left foot down in front of the right, reach your arms forward and then to the left, and then make a big circle with the hands so you pivot away from me all the way to the right with the right foot in front. Beautiful. Slide the right foot back so you're in Tadasana at the back end of your mat, and just pause for a moment. Connect with your breath. And we'll go through that same sequence on the second side, starting with chair pose. So from chair, take a few tippy toe Tadasanas, bringing awareness to the ankles, trying to keep them stacking. Usually we have a tendency either to roll in or out, depending on our own special patterns. So just try to counteract that to find that perfect balance point. You can always pause there if you need time to find it. And the next time you're in chair pose, flick the left foot down to lift it up, step it forward, and take a moment to find your Vir Bhadrasana 1 setup by just stepping the feet really nice and wide from right to left. Relax the arms down, bend the front knee, and then scoop the air up, letting the whole body expand and open. And then straighten the front leg and just deflate, just gently melting forward just a little bit. And then start to repeat those two shapes, expanding and opening in Vira 1, and then just melting and softening in our baby Parsvottanasana. You might start to notice your breath. Try to feel an evenness in the body. Disperse the weight evenly between the legs. Share the work evenly between the front and the back of the body. The next time you're up, pause there, drop the left arm, and let the whole right side of the body expand and open. The right fingertips might even reach a little higher as that happens. And then we'll switch. So left arm reaches up, left leg extends, right arm drops, and then slowly lift the left heel. There's a deep calf muscle that activates when we lift that heel. That's why we do all these weird heel lifts. So the left heel lifts like you just have a little high heel on. And then start to pulse from side to side. So the right side expands, and then the left side. And you can adjust the feet at any time. Maybe as the legs get tired, your stance gets smaller. Or maybe you feel like, ooh, I'm so warm, I need a longer stance. Nice. Yeah, it's so great when I see you guys making adjustments, because it means you felt something and you're accommodating yourself. And all of your body mechanics just look so supported and graceful and beautiful. But only you know how it feels, right? The next time the right arm is lifting, and we're in our Vir Bhadrasana 1 side bend, shift the weight into the left foot, bend the right knee, drop the right arm, twisted tree, left hand to thigh. Take a moment here. You can circle the right ankle. You can find your drishti. This is a fun moment to check in with the obliques. You can bring your right hand to just underneath the rib cage and see if you can get your fingers underneath the rib cage. If you can, try drawing the rib cage in or lifting the right hip slightly, and just notice how those muscles engage. And then slowly lengthen out the right side of the body, stepping right foot back, reaching right arm forward. And then we'll just pulse between those two shapes. So twisted tree into our Vira 3 prep pose. And just move at your own pace, but feel twisted tree as an opportunity to connect the rib cage into that right hip. And then stretch it out, but keep it strong. Moving slowly and smoothly is like a secret tip of how to keep things engaged and supportive. The next time you reach everything out, pause there. Bend the back knee, lift the back heel, and take a couple of slow motion bounces to make sure your legs feel really supported and buoyant. And then slowly melt the hands forward inside of the left foot, bending the back knee, lowering the back knee down. Great control, everybody. So we're going to do a little bit of shoulder work here. Bring the left knee back in line with the right, so you're in tabletop. And lift up the feet so you're on the knees. The hands can walk forward a little bit. Let the legs swivel to the left, slowly rolling into a supported side plank. Great, and I see Nehemiah has a blanket. Good idea. If you need a blanket underneath the knees, please grab one. And let's swivel the other way. And we're going to do this a few times. If it's ever too much, you can take a break, but I'm going to just layer in some cues as you repeat this. Try bringing extra weight into the pinky side of the palm. There's a lot of cushioning there. Bend the elbows a little bit and just see if you can start to feel support in the back of the body. And so I want to make sure your hands and shoulders feel great here. And so that should be the focus. But if you can expand your awareness, you might start to notice how your obliques participate in this movement. Trying to keep the ribs integrated will help that bottom side of the body stay lifted and supported. The next time you're at center, pause, press the hips back to the heels, melt the forehead down, turn the palms face up, and just breathe into the shoulders, letting them relax for a moment. And we'll slowly roll up to standing on our knees, just like we did before. Walk the knees out underneath you and just pause for a moment. And let's take a couple of our standing chairs, reaching hands forward, sending hips back. Just move nice and slow. The next time the hips are back and they slowly shift forward, step the left foot forward, just like you did before. Nice. Taking the momentum with you. Release the arms down, letting the front of the body close. Oh, and actually now is a good time to go to the second track if you are following along. If you are not, you can start rolling up and down just like we did before. And try moving so slowly that you can feel the support in the front of the body rising up and then releasing. The next time the hands are down, pause there. Shift the weight forward and slowly draw the right knee into the chest for your standing crunch. Nice. And then set the right foot down into your wide Tadasana. Bend the knees and roll up one vertebra at a time. Always support yourself if you need it. And we'll meet at standing, but take your time getting there and enjoy the ride. Once you're there, walk the feet out underneath you. We'll go into our chair, tippy-toe Tadasana pulses. And as we start to repeat things that you've already done, give yourself the permission to pause if something feels interesting, add something in, or just keep moving slowly and fluidly. The next time the hips are back, flick the left foot, stepping the toes forward, and then separate left foot forward to the edge of the mat, right foot back towards the outer edge of the mat, just giving yourself a nice wide setup. Bend the left knee, scoop the air up, Vir Bhadrasana 1, but now we'll move on a little faster. drop the left hand and let the whole right side of the body expand and fill. And then extend left leg, drop right arm, lift left arm, and come onto the heel. Do this a couple of times. And the next time the left knee bends, shift the weight forward into twisted tree. Circle the right arm back and feel the rib cage pulling back as the right hip reaches forward. The obliques really support you here. And then lengthen right arm forward, right foot back. Take a couple of pulses. And then you've got the option. If you want to expand into Vir Bhadrasana 3, just keep the right foot lifted. Otherwise, continue lowering the right foot. So whatever feels most interesting or beneficial to you. And the next time you're forward, let's all drop the right foot. We're going to add on here. So reach the arms forward. Sweep the arms to the right, kind of like our fancy pivot from before, and turn all 10 toes so you're facing the other direction. Nice, Angeli. Shift the weight into the right foot and lift the left knee into standing tree, the opposite side. Nice. Okay, we're going to keep adding on. So send the left leg back, bend the right knee, and slowly plant the hands down as you step the left foot back. If that's ever too much, you can step the foot and then slowly lower separately. So pause here for a moment. Our first option is going to be to shift the weight into the left hand, slowly stack left shoulder, and then right hand, and then melt everything back down. And do that a couple times so that you get used to the left hand taking the weight of your body, kind of like we did in the side plank. And then the next time both hands are on the ground, inch the left knee forward just a little bit, and then we'll do the same thing again, stacking the arms, but this time hover the right leg, sweep it back, and then slightly behind you for a wild thing prep pose. And I know you're facing away from me, so you might need to glance at the screen. And we're going to pulse into that a couple of times. So swing the right leg forward, melt forward, and then shift the weight into the left hand and let the right leg swing around and back for wild thing. The next time you're in wild thing, slowly lower your hips down so you're closer to me, and release the hand so you can see me. I know that's a hard one without being able to see me. So from here, bend the right knee, place the sole of the right foot on the ground, and connect the elbow and the knee. Plant the left hand behind you, and now slowly fill the right side of the body so it just expands and opens like we did in our standing poses. And then set the hips down, let the hands and feet adjust their tripod, and just take a couple of pulses like this in our wild thing prep pose. And try to move really slowly. Doesn't matter how high you go, but just make sure you feel supported. And then we're going to go back the way we came. You've got two options. You can stay low and just swing the knee around to tabletop, or you can stay high and swing the leg all the way around to the lunge. Okay, if you're in tabletop, step the right foot forward, otherwise the lunge should already be there. And shift the weight into the right heel, curl the knee in for your standing crunch, and then lower the left foot. Shift the weight back into the hips, slowly rise up one vertebra at a time. Walk back to the middle of your mat, and we'll do that same thing on the second side. Once you've got the hang of it, you can always move on, and you can actually repeat that sequence. Otherwise, stay with me, and we'll go nice and slow. So let's just take a couple of chair pulses. And if you're getting tired, try moving slower and not going as deep. And if you feel like you want more, still move slow, but you can play with going deeper. The next time you're in chair, flick the right foot down, lifting the right knee and stepping the right foot forward for Vir Bhadrasana 1. Take your slow inflation in Vir Bhadrasana 1. And then side bend to the right. The whole left side expands and fills. And then switch arms, straighten the right leg, and come on to the ball of the right foot, feeling all the strength in that right leg. Take a couple of your side-to-side pulses. And the next time the right knee bends, shift the weight into the right foot. Twisted tree. Spin the left hand back and let the ribcage pull back. Nice control, everybody. And then start to lengthen the left side for flying warrior, or drop the toes down. And just take a couple of pulses there, either with toes down or up, whatever the body is craving. And the next time you're in flying warrior, feel free to pause. And then we'll all release the toes down, reach all fingers forward, and then sweep the hands all the way around to the other side as you pivot on the feet and end up in twisted tree on the other side. Take your time getting there. Nice. And then let the right leg start to reach back as you lower the hands down into your low lunge. Release the right knee and shift the weight onto the right wrist, slowly stacking. Left hand reaches to the sky. And then melt everything back down. And just do that a couple of times to get used to weight on that right hand and shoulder. And the next time the left hand is down, inch the right knee down forward so you've got some more support. And we'll do that same thing. Oh yeah, I should have you do this before you turn away. So what it's going to look like is the same thing you just did with the shoulder, but now the left leg will reach back and behind you so that you can open up, and then we'll set our hips down. So shift the weight into the right shoulder and the right knee. If it feels comfortable, you can start to swing the left leg back behind you. And then slowly bring the right hip down. You might have to hinge the hips a little bit. You're probably going to come off the mat, and that's okay. Nice. So from here, place the sole of the left foot down. Adjust the right hand. We're going to take a few pulses, and each time you set the hips down, adjust where the left foot is, adjust where the right hand is, until you feel as supported and comfortable as possible. And you don't have to lift very high. If you want to focus on bringing the left elbow into the left quad, and then slowly lengthening that space, it's a really fun way to generate a lot of strength and support from the top of the body here. And the next time the hips are down, bring the left knee on top of the right and slowly pivot into tabletop. And send the hips back to the heels. Push down into the shins, rolling the spine forward, stacking shoulders over wrists, so a little different than what we did before. And then we're actually going to go all the way back down to the beginning. So first we'll peak with another Wild Thing option, and then we'll do lots of soothing stuff on the floor. So this round, extend the right leg behind you, root down into the left hand, and very slowly stack the shoulders like you did before. You can stay right here, or you can lower the hips like you did before. Nice. And so here's the option. Before we were bending the right knee, and we were doing like a baby Wild Thing. If you want a little bit more here, you can extend out as you push down, letting the whole right side of the body open into a little back bend. If that feels like too much, keep the sole of the right foot down, and you've just got a little bit more support. So you can try a couple of pulses. Make sure you can breathe and really become interested in the support of the shoulder beneath you. And the next time the hips come down, stack the legs and try going the other way. I know you're not going to be able to see me from here, so the options are the sole of the left foot down for a little more support, or the left leg extended. And just take a couple of pulses, and each time the hips come down, give yourself permission to adjust your tripod of support. And see if you can feel some support on the back of the shoulder. Nice. And the next time the hips come down, turn to the left so both feet are on the floor and your bottom is on the floor. Place the hands behind you and push down into the hands so you can open across the front of the chest. Sometimes people splay their ribs here, so see if you can use the obliques to keep the ribs integrated into the body. And then if it's comfortable, lift the hips and we'll crab walk back onto our mat. And just pause for one moment of the hips lifted. If the shoulders feel really supported here from all the shoulder work, you can take some little hip circles and just notice how this shifts the weight in the shoulders. Just targeting different muscles so you get a little more support. If you want more here, you can lift opposite arm and leg and actually walk backward, but you don't have to do that. And then, because then you have to walk forward and come back. And we'll all meet in the center of our mat. Lower the hips down. And before you recline, you can go to the next track, which is a little more calming. And let's grab behind the legs and very slowly recline onto the back. And you can extend the legs or keep the knees bent, and we'll just pause for a moment. Just notice the sensation in the shoulders and where the shoulders connect to the rib cage. And then maybe ours played the wrong song, so it should be Inner Sanctum, which might mean you have to go to the next track. It should be really quiet and soothing. So if the legs are straight, you can bend the knees and just pause. Slowly lift the shins, bringing the thighs towards the belly, and curl up, giving yourself a big hug. And then gently bring the body down, bring the arms to T, and then bring left hand to the outside of the right thigh like we did before, except now legs are together. Squeeze the thighs towards the hand, and then slowly shift the knees to the left. And two options here. You can take the rib cage with you like you did before, or if you can feel the strength in the right side of the body, you can start to lengthen the obliques by letting the rib cage stay down as you twist. But you just want to make sure that this feels really connected and supported. And then let's all lift the right hand towards the sky and then all the way in front of you. Just rest for a moment with the fingertips down and just slide the hand towards me, letting the scapula slide wide on the rib cage like we did with our serratus push-ups. And then draw the shoulder blade back and just do that a couple of times, letting the shoulder blade slide on the rib cage. And the next time the hand walks towards me and the shoulder blade slides forward, slowly circle the hand up overhead. The hand might hover here for more comfort. I know I have to do that. And then flip the palm and start to circle the hand away from you, peeling open the heart, and let the shoulder or the hips come with you so it's not too deep of a stretch. Curl up, hugging the knees in, and then place the feet down, place the arms down. Before we do the second side, we'll just pause for a little bridge pose. You can do any variation you like here. Just take it nice and easy. And then let's all lower the hips and just notice the right side of the body. Just notice the sensation in the shoulders. And then we'll bring balance by doing the left side. So now curl the knees into the chest. Give yourself a big hug, curling up. And then release the head down. Bring the left arm to T. Bring the right hand to the left thigh. Squeeze hand and thigh together. And now slowly point the knees to the right, but really try to control your way down, because then that means the core is staying on. If it flops, there's sort of like a disconnect, in which case I would lift the left shoulder so that you don't strain anything. And then we'll all stack the shoulders and place the left hand in front of us, so we're on our side in the fetal position. And then slowly start to walk the left hand forward, letting the left shoulder blade slide wide on the rib cage, and then pull the left shoulder blade back. And just do this a couple of times. And if it feels really challenging, like I don't know what my shoulder blade is, or if it's sliding, that's okay. We're really waking up awareness in an area that you might not have a lot of sensation. And so that's why it's hard. You can always bring the right hand to the actual shoulder blade and see if you can feel it gliding forward and then squeezing back. And maybe it's hard to actually get it to move. And so just thinking about it, just trying and visualizing is the first way to really wake up these areas that we might not have a lot of control over. The next time the hand walks forward, let it hover about 4 inches above the floor and circle it overhead, letting the scapula slide up on the rib cage, and then let it start to peel open. And eventually the left hip follows, so you're on your back. And then option for one last bridge pose. Actually, I'm not making it optional, because as soon as I did it, I was like, oh, that's so important after doing that deep shoulder work. And imagine you've never done this pose before, so you're not really thinking about your usual experience. Try to massage between your shoulder blades as you lift and lower your hips. And so it doesn't matter if the spine is arching or if it's rounding. You're just trying to shift the weight around, massaging the underside of the scapula by rolling the rib cage slightly from side to side, or any way that you discover feels good. And then take one moment to set the hips down and find equilibrium on right and left sides. Like, just feel your rib cage landing inside the open palms of your scapula. And as you breathe, try to feel the breath drawing into the back side of the rib cage. And if there's any last movements that the body is craving, please, by all means, balance your body. It can, Nehemiah's doing a figure 4, a nice little hip release. Angeli's doing some windshield wipers. Maybe your body just really wants stillness. That's wonderful too. And if your music is still playing, when you've got a chance, you can pause the music. Oh, Roseanne's doing some wrist circles. That's really nice after some of that upper body work that we did. Your bodies are so smart. Everybody had such good ideas. And Mom, I just can't see you. I'm sure you're doing something. So eventually allow your body to trace a path to Shavasana, but you don't need to rush it. And before we release completely, just we'll circle back to how we started class, just noticing the earth supporting the body. Noticing the air around you like a blanket. And then bring your awareness to your own body, the intersection of these two forces. And just witness the pulsation of your breath, filling and receding. And you're welcome to continue to observe the breath as you rest here, absorbing the nourishment of your practice. And you're also welcome to release all effort. Let the body soften and rest in this space of expansion beyond the mind, beyond the physical form, at one with our deepest spiritual center. Gently let the breath deepen. Make small movements with the fingers and the toes, and then allow those movements to radiate back towards the heart. When it feels right for you, you can gently start to make your way to seated, moving slowly and consciously. And we'll meet seated with hands at the heart, and just feel the hands gently resting on the heart center. As you breathe, feel this connection between your heart space, your deep spiritual center, and your hands through which you navigate your external life. As you breathe, feel those two fusing together, your inner and outer worlds. And just gently bow to that fusion. Thank you so much for being here and practicing. Namaste. So great to see you. Thank you so much for coming. How do your shoulders feel? Do they feel glidey? Yeah. I hope more than your shoulders feel great, but my shoulders have been enjoying that sequence, so I hope yours are too. I can stick around if anyone has questions. Otherwise, have a wonderful week, and I hope to see you soon. Aloha.
Thank you, Abaya.
Great to see you, Angeli.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming, Mom. I'm so glad you could make it.
Oh,
That's my mom. Yay, there she is.